Hello, this is Amy from Clutter Care, and today I'm going to show you and talk about Google Sheets and why we might use a Google Sheet instead of a table. So, what you see right now is a table in a Google Doc. It's kind of like a table in a Word doc, but there's only so many things you can do with this, and you can't necessarily drag the rows and columns around. So, a sheet is helpful for that. It still contains this information in a table format, but a sheet, you can do a lot more things and manipulate the data more in depth. So if you are in your Google Drive and you click New Google Sheet, that's like an Excel file, you can just make a new Google Sheet. These are always green in Google, and I can give it a title, Test a Contact List. And then I can, again, do name, address, email, phone, right? So I can have the same information. What are the use cases for this? We could have a holiday card list. We could have a client list. We could have a resident list if you're working with a building full of people. You can have a membership list if you're a volunteer or a club or a sports team. There are just so many uses for a contact list like this. My husband and I use it for our address book when we're sending out holiday cards every year or inviting people to parties once we get back to that. So you can put a lot of information in this contact list. The other thing to know is that you, of course, can put text and numbers, phone numbers. If I put that number in, I can actually format it as a phone number. I could either do it with dashes or I could actually format it, but you can put numbers, an address, I can use numbers and text. And why does that matter? Because then I can sort the data later by numbers or in alphabetical order if I have Amy, Chrissy, Jen, Deb, and Kim and Jill, right? I can sort the data. There's some data sort features, and I can sort by certain rows. So then I can get it in different ways without changing the data that's in the table. So that is why it's a good thing to use. So the other thing to know is some vocabulary. So this is a Google Sheet. That's the entire file. Down at the bottom, you can add more sheets, otherwise known as tabs at the bottom, so that you can keep track of multiple pieces of information in one file. So if I go back to my Google Drive, this is called Test Contact List. And if I refresh, here it is. But within that file, I could have their name, address, email, and phone. But on another sheet, if I felt like it, I could have maybe they need shirts and I need a shirt size for each person, how many things they need to order. So I can keep track of all this information in one file. That's why this is important. So again, this is called a Google Sheet. The tabs are at the bottom. These verticals are called columns. Across is called rows. And one little box is called a cell. And of course, the row at the top is called a header. And there are many ways we can make that stand out, which I'll talk about later. But of course, I can make it bold and so that I can see my header very clearly. So again, why use a sheet? You can manipulate the data more in depth and in more ways than if you just have it in a table in a Google Doc. Google Sheets are very helpful in many ways, and I hope you watch the rest of the videos to see all the ways in which you can format and manipulate the data.